Well, hey everybody, wanted to give some quick updates. This is perhaps our final installment of our updates on the topic of marriage. We'll be headed home tomorrow. We've spent the last couple of days at a marriage retreat center here in Greenville, Tennessee. It's a beautiful area. But wanted to talk today about the topic of encouragement and really building your spouse up. That seems like it would be something that would be easy to do, but we've been married for almost 17 years in August, and it is not easy for us sometimes to be intentional about building our spouse up.
Yes, I think it's very important as a wife to make sure that you are your husband's number one encourager. And there are many times that I feel like I have failed at that, where I've maybe spoken things that were not edifying or uplifting or encouraging to my husband. And I do believe that when you're in a marriage relationship, it is extremely important to speak things that are going to build life into them, and to speak love into them, and to speak peace into them. And sometimes that's very hard, especially if you are frustrated with your spouse, or you do want to point out
You've never been frustrated with me, have you?
Never, ever. But sometimes you feel the need to point out flaws or maybe a mistake. And I think it's okay to discuss those things with your spouse, but never to say things to them that are harmful or hurtful or degrading of their character. And I think that is something that's very, very important to practice. And I also think that comes from just in your heart and in your mind, thinking and speaking, and when you think about your spouse, to be thinking of their strengths and the parts of them, the ways that the Lord has gifted them. Think of those things, because then when you're speaking to them, or when you're frustrated with them, those are the things that are going to come out. You're going to speak positive things to them. You're going to reassure them. You're going to uplift them. And that is not an easy thing to do, but it is of utmost importance. And I do believe that one thing that kills marriages is when we allow ourselves to say things to our spouse, or call them names, or to speak to them in a way that demonstrates anything other than love and support. I think that can really kill a relationship and kill a marriage. And so yeah, we just wanted to talk about that just for a few minutes tonight.
I think for me, and you may or may not be like this, but for me, I'm a very, I guess, I consider myself to be kind of a driven person, and I feel like I have a lot of ideas and a lot of energy. And sometimes I know in the past, when we've been talking about things, I unintentionally, it's not really intentional, but unintentionally kind of dismiss your ideas or your perspective. And I think that's something that God's really been showing me over these years, is to just be open to that, and understand that this is not a shocker to any of you or you, but I don't always have the best ideas, but to just be open to the ideas that you have, and open to, to another perspective, and not be as closed-minded. And I think that's really goes back to what you're talking about, is this idea of encouragement, this idea of building your spouse up, and giving them value. And I think also something you said reminded me of this, is that each of us is created in the image of God. And that's so true for everyone, including your spouse. And I think that's so significant, that we never forget that you are created in the image of God, and God has gifted you, and God has given you talents and abilities, and me talents and abilities, and we've got to bring those out of each other and to encourage one another in that way. And if, in no other relationship should that happen more than in your marriage relationship. And I think that's one of the signs of a healthy marriage, for sure, is when each spouse is building the other one up.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think that's all we have to say.
That's all we have to say.
That's all we have to say about that. Hope you guys are doing well, and we will see you. I do this every time. We'll see you tomorrow, I guess.
Daddy?
I think we gotta look at the camera since we're not looking at anything else. Okay.
I think I look weird when I look at the camera.
You don't look weird. You're looking at the camera. What if I was like, when you were talking? What if I was like...